Song, whatever don't kill you will make you stronger. But what we're going to talk about today is whatever don't kill you will build you. Let me just tell you a little bit about who I am. Again, my name is Yolanda Carter. Welcome to the Comeback Champions Summit 2021. I am a life coach by nature. I come from the real estate industry for over 30 years. I felt like I was on top of the world until it imploded on me and ended up losing everything. And that's when my tower moment happened. But let me tell you, through that process, I learned many different skills on how to stand in the midst of my storm. And let me tell you, that is something that I would like to share with you, because we all have our storms that we have gone through. And the difference between coming through your storm and coming out of your storm is being able to have coping mechanism that would allow you to stand strong in the midst of it. Well, let me say that I tell you what was about to happen to me when that real estate market imploded, I was not prepared for. I walked amongst homelessness. I lost cars, expensive cars, after traveling around the world. Well, not the world, but I traveled to many countries. Let me correct that. I traveled around to many countries. I wined and dined at the finest, and I had property in Las Vegas, Atlanta, and here in Southern California, driving $100,000 cars. So I thought I was sitting on top of the world. And let me tell you, when I lost all of that, so along with my friends, the people who I call was my friends, when the money left, so did they. They fled from me in my life like I had COVID-19. That was so sad. Real situation exposes fake people. And I just thank our almighty creator that I don't look like what I've gone through. And what I like to also emphasize, I'm sure that there's plenty of you, as I mentioned before, that you have probably gone through your storms as well and didn't know how to get up out of it. Because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And then you don't realize that you have to learn new tools, because all I kept saying is that I'd be glad when I get over this. But you know what? Life told me, no, you're not going to get over it. You have to go through it. So I said, well, at least give me strength to deal with it. Because not only was I broke and broken and almost fell all the way down to my knees, I bend, but I didn't break. But I almost did. And through that process, I learned how to look at mind over matter. Yes. You can create whatever it is that you want in your situation when you put your mind over the matter. Now let me ask you, have you ever had a tower moment in your life where everything seemed to have been crumbling down around you and you didn't know what to do? You didn't know what steps to take, and you had no one there to help you. You felt like that you was on an island all by yourself. Well, that was me. That's how I felt. I felt like I was on an island all by myself. I kept fighting. Each day I woke up fighting to save my stuff, the stuff that I didn't leave or lose. And I said, it's not worth it. It felt like I was about to have a stroke. Every morning I woke up fighting to save my house, fighting to save my cars, fighting to save my dignity. But let me tell you that when you are in your tower moment, don't fight it. Embrace it. Because if you fight it, whatever you resist will persist. And let me tell you is that I fought, and it kept getting worse and worse, and I didn't know how to stop it. I kept fighting what I was going through. I was praying every day, please let me get through this. I became homeless after 2 years of losing my stuff, going from almost a 7-figure income to 0 figures because I was self-employed. So I had no money coming in. I was staying with relatives, sleeping on people's couches, walking, and even sometimes having to get on the bus because I lost my car because I couldn't afford to pay for them any longer. And I could have had a pity party. I almost had one. And I had to ask myself, how did I get here? Did my life just really get reduced to this? How did I get here? Well, let me tell you something. When you are going through your storm in your life, and if you want to change, what you got to do, you got to be real with your situation, with who you are, and your stuff. You got to be real with it, because you can't change nothing that you are in denial of. I realized that my situation, no matter how hard I worked, things were not changing. I knew I couldn't quit, because if I quit, it really wasn't going to work. So I had to figure out a way. How am I going to be able to cope with what I'm dealing with in this toxic situation? I had to incorporate mind over matter. I had to put my mind over my situation. And let me tell you, I didn't do it alone. I listened to motivational tapes. I listened to Iyanla Vanzant, Lisa Nichols, Les Brown. They inspired me because I was able to resonate with their stories, how they would struggle. They were homeless, but they pulled themselves up by the bootstrap to get to where they needed to go. I had to take my mind off of focusing on my problems and start focusing and redirecting it on the situation. I also realized that my energy played a major role in it. I always thought that I was a very confident and positive person. But when you get stripped away with all your stuff, you start being able to see the real you and all your flaws. I knew that I couldn't fix my situation with the current mindset, energy, and tools and habits in which I have operated in the past that got me to the point to where I were. I knew that I had to make a shift in my life. But guess what? I didn't know how. That's a shame. I really didn't know how. And I tutored, I trained, I mentored other people in the real estate industry, how to become a boss, business owner, entrepreneur. But then I was at a loss with my own life. I stayed prayed up. And then I also stepped into the space of allowing, because I knew that the more that I kept fighting my situation, the worse that it got. I kept talking about my past, about what I had. I kept thinking about my future in terms of fantasizing about it. Oh, when I get my money. When I get my money, I'm going to buy me a new house. When I get my money, I'm going to get me a new car. When I get my money, I'm going to buy me new clothes. I wasn't present. I had to reel it all back in. And I had to become present with where I was and deal with it at face value. But in order for me to have stepped into my future, I had to let go of my past. I became present and I became authentic with who I was when nobody was looking. I had to face my stuff. I had to face my fears. I had to look at my situation as to how did I get here? And once I became totally honest with how I got there, I started doing the work. That was helping to a certain degree. but I still was leaving out the main and key component, and that was shifting not just my mindset. I had to shift my energy, because energy flows where energy goes, good, bad, or indifferent. And that's why listening to that song, it was so upbeat and positive. I had to do things that put my energy in a happy state of being, even though everything around me felt toxic. I'm laying on the couch. I had my stuff. I got reduced to my stuff being in the corner. Whew, that was tough. And if I focused on my present situation as to where I was, at times I tell you, it felt like it was hopeless. It's like, how am I going to put myself up out of here? I don't have no money. But let me tell you something. Humility really set in. I thought I was humble. I had to reach out to those that were willing to help me and get a hand up. And that was one of my lessons, because I never believed in asking anyone for anything. I had this false pride. And let me tell you, if you're going through some stuff and don't want to ask for help, not a handout, but help, a hand up, then you will stay stuck in your stuff even longer. I realized that. So I created a community of people who was able to give me a hand up without judging me and looking at me as a failure. I also had to tune out the noise of those negative people who were around me, who couldn't see my vision. Because when you start letting the voices on the outside become louder than the voice on the inside, then you're in trouble. That was one of Les Brown's quote. And so I started speaking into my situation how I wanted it to be. I had to take control over my life, opposed to having a pity party, because Lord knows I didn't want to quit. But I knew quitting is never an option. I also knew that whatever goes up will come down, and whatever goes down can come back up. And no matter how hard I fought, it felt like I didn't see any results. I didn't feel like I was getting any closer. But I knew I couldn't stop. I incorporated 50 Cents, I'm gonna die trying. That kept me going. And positive affirmations. Positive affirmations is good for the soul, whether you believe it or not. Say them 10 times. And your spirit will start feeling it. And once your spirit and your soul and your energy is feeling good, it's easier to accomplish goals. So I started putting my mind over my matter, over my situation, and I said, this is temporary. I had to embrace it instead of fighting it. I didn't marry my situation because I wasn't trying to make it permanent. But I became realistic about it. So, okay, this is what it is. So now how do we move from here? I had to think logically. I cleansed my mind, body, and soul, and emptied out my cup that was full of bull crap, old toxic ways, bad behavior and actions, and all of that. I created a different narrative in my life. I stopped speaking about what I used to have, and when I get my money, what I was going to do in the future, because I put my life in the future instead of being present. And once I embraced it and my energy shift, things started happening effortlessly. That's why you have to take control over your situation. Don't always wait for somebody to fill your cup. Fill your own cup. Do whatever it is. If it's good music, if it's going to take a walk by the beach, it helps you to feel oneness and wholeness, then do it. Find different things. Be creative. It's what you have to do to make your soul feel happy. Go to church. Listen to church music. Pray. Do what you got to do. But you got to do something. You can't give up. You can't give in. Because what don't kill you will build you. And that's the God's honest truth. And I kept saying it over and over to myself. It wasn't meant for me to hurry up and get over what I was going through. Because I experienced that before. Maybe not to that degree. My life felt like it was spinning. And that drought lasted a long time. My father wanted to make sure that I got it right this time. The situation, the faces have changed. The scenery changed. But the situation was the same. I found myself in almost a similar situation. I said, I got to do something different. Because I don't want this more than I want to be successful. Did I say that right? In other words, I didn't want to experience that anymore. So bad until I worked so hard and stay focused and stay driven to prevent me from having to stay stuck in that situation. And as I got the motor running and chugging along and started really moving fast, all I can think of is that the feeling that I felt when I went through that was my motivation. And that is why, too, you got to let your setback be your comeback. You got to let what you're going through motivate you. It is there to teach you. And sometimes we can't be taught until we're tore down. But you got to get back up. Les Brown said, if you can look up, you can get up. Amen to that one. And let me tell you, I did. Because what I had to do also, like mind over matter, your perception as to how you perceive your situation will determine the outcome of it and create your reality. That's why it's so important that you work on your energy. You got to work on the inner man. When people want to change, they go get a new hairdo, go get new clothes, and they forget about all this on the inside. Because if you clean up the inner man, the outer man is going to glow anyway. When you focus and stay focused on what it is you want, opposed to fighting and resisting and putting emphasis on what you don't want, then you can see some leadway. Now, because people say, oh, I worked so hard and nothing's changed. You know what I discovered? Working hard don't always get you paid either. There's a lot of hardworking people out there who are broke and who don't make no money hardly. You got to work smart. You got to have the right energy. When you start vibrating on a higher level, you don't have to work so hard. Everything that you want, you be like a magnet, because this world is your oyster. You start attracting like-mindedness to you. So I'm running out of time. I just want to say that if you want to get more about how to reset your mind and to create the energy space to receive what's already waiting for you, then connect with me on Facebook under Yolanda Carter, and also on Instagram, Yolanda Carter Game Changer Carter, and also on LinkedIn, Yolanda Carter Life Coach Carter. I hope you are having a fantastic time. And I'd like to see you join me, the first 100 people who connect with me on Facebook or any of my social media sites. I'm giving away free 20-minute consultations. I hope to see you there. Talk to you later. I had a great time talking with you and wish I could talk longer. Bye.